What is your immediate takeaway? The 49ers did sign tight end Logan Thomas. He was in practice today. I like a lot of the media guys got some film of George Kittle coaching him up, which I found pretty interesting. And then Kyle Shanahan was asked about him. Now he's much more of a receiving threat, and some people are kind of down on that. I don't think that that's a huge problem with George Kittle's blocking ability. Now I think at this point we know that maybe this guy wasn't the number one choice for the 49ers because they tried to sign other tight ends. He's a little bit, not even a little bit, he's 32, so he is older, but for his production that he was able to put up, I think 55 catches last season, as a tight end too. I don't know. I think
he was the top tight end for Washington.
No, but I mean for the 49ers, he'll be a tight end too. So like it's not like the 49ers, unless there's an injury, they're not going to be like relying on him in that way where it's, people, because I think my initial reaction was like, oh, he's older. What if he can't maintain that production? Well, he doesn't necessarily have to in this offense. Do you have any immediate takeaways about this? How do you feel? My actual question is, what the heck is happening with Cam Latu? Kyle Shanahan seemed kind of over that question when he was asked about him in today's press conference. Is he going to make the team? Is he going to, I imagine just because they don't even have that many tight ends, he will, but things aren't looking good for him. I felt like this offseason was going to be important. He was kind of already overdrafted. I don't know. How do you feel about the 49ers tight end group and Logan Thomas joining?
Yeah, well, on Logan Thomas, I think, in June, that's probably as solid of a move as you're going to get at a position of need for the 49ers. And in fact, I think we had talked about it before that, it was a little
and just a 1-year deal for people who don't.
Yeah, 1-year deal. I think it was interesting for the 49ers to sign Brock Wright or attempt to sign Brock Wright to that offer sheet. That didn't work out, but when it didn't work out, like they didn't really address the position again. We did hear, like earlier today, Eric Branch from the SF Chronicle did hint that the 49ers were interested in Ben Sinnott from I forgot what school he was at, Kansas or Kansas State. He was nice. I really liked Ben Sinnott, and apparently the 49ers
Mr. Corey
did too.
In our chat too. He was sending me some stuff about him.
Yeah, I really liked Sinnott, and he got drafted in the second round, probably earlier than the 49ers would have looked to draft him anyway. But Kyle after the draft even said we would have liked to add a tight end. So there were attempts, I guess, even after the Brock Wright thing to add a tight end. But for some reason, they waited until now to sign Logan Thomas. I guess, it ended up working out for him. He's still available. He is on the older side, but as you mentioned, former tight end 1, he's obviously not going to need to be in that role for the 49ers. Although if George Kittle does suffer any injuries, which we know, like, he is prone to injury at times.
He's currently injured.
Exactly. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God, what are we going to do at the tight end position? Logan Thomas is a fine option to be a tight end 1 if he needs to be, right? So as a tight end 2, I think we've been looking and wanting for some time an actual pass catching tight end 2. And so this, to me, in that regard, makes Logan Thomas an immediate upgrade over Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelley, who were not pass catching like threats at all. And so the other thing with that is you can line him up anywhere. You can line him up in the slot. He lines up in line, even outside, right? So I think with Kyle Shanahan, he's going to enjoy having that versatility with Logan Thomas as a tight end 2. People are going to have to respect Thomas when he's on the field. That's more than I can say for Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelley.
I completely agree. And the quote from Kyle Shanahan today, when asked on why the 49ers signed Thomas, was, I really just wanted to up the competition with the group and get a guy in here who's had success in the league and and in the run and pass game. He's been on a few teams and done it before. We like our group, and there's some competition there, but having the opportunity at this point in the offseason to be able to add a veteran like Logan with his skill set and be able to get him in there and compete, have him showing rookies how to do it, him being ready for something. We're all pretty pumped to pull off something like this at this time. We didn't think we'd be able to. We're just going to have him watch this week because he just got here today, and we'll give him a chance to come in training camp and compete with those guys. The other guys also, they will have the chance to compete. And then the quote ends, but it's bringing back to memory for me a different question that Kyle Shanahan was asked when he was asked about veterans not practicing as much and the rookies. He kind of really said a lot of the foundation is being put into the rookies or maybe redshirt guys when we're talking about the tight ends, and also Braden Willis. But you're really reinstalling that stuff. And then he said the important part is this time away this is where you can make up ground. You can really train, you can get into shape, you can install these ideas or you can go over these concepts that we've already given you in the mini camp. And then you come back, and Kyle Shanahan, when answering that separate question, said that gives you a chance to make yourself a starter versus a practice squad player. So it will be interesting to see how all of the tight ends, they're here, they've learned, they're going to go away. Okay, who comes back most prepared, most ready? It'll be interesting. And I would hope with that competitor in you that a guy like Latu comes back with the right mindset and hopefully also doesn't put too much pressure on himself. I don't remember where I heard it, but I did hear it might have been from the assistant coaching.
Brian Fleury did say that Latu put a lot of pressure on himself in his rookie season, but a lot of that
which isn't his fault. Like, he was overdrafted.
The 49ers drafted him early as hell, earlier than he probably ever imagined, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on him. So it's like that's the one thing, and just on top of like just overdrafting players, like that's one example of that maybe not being a good idea, because then you're putting on unnecessary pressure on a player. I mean, you could have said the same for Jake Moody, although Jake Moody kind of rounded out as the season went on. But, for
except for that missed kick in the Super Bowl.
Right. Hey,
I thought about that today.
He had a solid rookie season, though.
He did.
But I mean, so that's the unfortunate thing with Latu. I know Kyle Shanahan did say that he should be ready for training camp. Well, that's good for Latu, because he's going to need every single snap at training camp to make this roster and prove that he deserves a roster spot. This is going to be one of the most competitive, like 53-man rosters to make it on. And so
it is in like so many different position groups, right? I even heard today that Elijah Mitchell wasn't the best in the pass catching segment for the running backs. And you think about the running backs that they drafted and then the ones that they've already had. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Jordan Mason. Lots of people are. He hasn't even made it into the team. Then you think about how many faces that we have with the wide receivers. I know when Charvarius Ward was asked about both Ricky Parcell and Jacob Cowing, and immediately he said, "Oh, Cowing is so fast," and he, did a little ramble about how good Jacob Cowing was, and then talked about Ricky, and it's like, damn, there's competition right there. There's like, it does feel like running back, wide receiver, tight end. People are going to be fighting for spots because there's 6 to 7 guys that could be on there, and it's going to be 4 to 5, so it's going to be interesting to see, who makes the cut. It's going to be a really good and hard training camp. And even with the quarterbacks, I heard, you got Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs. To me, I thought it was kind of a slam dunk that Josh Dobbs was the number 2, but I don't know if that's
I mean, so far, I had heard mention that Dobbs has been the number 2, but I mean, it's OTAs at the same time, so you can't really make too much of that either.
Yeah. But I think what's probably the best takeaway is that Brock Purdy's there, he's healthy, and when asked about it, and when all these players have been asked about it, at least all these rookies are practicing, showing up, making an impact, getting reps in with the starting QB. Not something that they could have said last year. So that's something that makes me at least excited. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the rest of that turns out. But yeah, did you have any other takeaways from any of the players talking and any of the camp stuff? Oh, that was another thing. Charvarius Ward said he hasn't been able to work specifically with Green yet just because of his injury, but that he's watched tape, thinks that he's really sticky. And from the different media people, Matt Mayoko and some other people just wrote on Twitter that Green had a really good day today in day 1 of mandatory minicamp. So that's going to be more exciting. See more competitive rooms going on. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.